The Air Force gave Ben Browder, Lieutenant Colonel Cameron Mitchell in the series, a chance to do more than just sit in a fighter jet. He got invited to take a ride in an F-16 owned by the Air Force's demonstration team, the Thunderbirds.
I got to go up with Major Scotty Zamzow, the lead soloist for the Thunderbirds, and he basically showed me everything that he knew how to do in an F-16.
He says the experience helped him act the part of a pilot.
You know, went supersonic, not that interesting. Pulled 9Gs, very interesting. It's a rocket ship. It's amazing. It's the most amazing experience that I've ever had.
Fantastic.
Oh man, you're the one. You're the one. This
no,
guy.
You know, I just rode around and said, "Give me more, sir. Give me more."
Basically do a quick battle damage check.
Back on his day job in Vancouver, Browder is preparing to pretend to be a pilot.
What happens in the storyline is that members of Stargate SG-1 have to make their way to Antarctica, and we need to get there quickly. Luckily, we got 2 members of their team who are pilots.
That trip leads to a rendezvous with a nuclear submarine on the polar ice. First time the Stargate franchise worked with the Navy. The scenes were actually shot in the Arctic.
I don't think anybody's ever shot scenes with a submarine coming through the ice. In reality, it's all done in CG. We really have the submarine there, and we really are shooting aboard the submarine. It adds so much production value.
In my many years of service, I've met with our men and women in uniform around the world.
Stargate Continuum and Stargate The Ark of Truth are scheduled to be released directly on DVD in 2008. Captain Mary Danner thinks the Stargate franchise has enhanced the image of the Air Force for years.
Because it has such a huge built-in worldwide franchise, it's a great opportunity for the Air Force to get their messages out there from a recruiting standpoint to a very large audience. And we get a lot of people who say they joined the Air Force because of this show.
You're right about that.
This movie is going to be fantastic. The Air Force is going to come off looking like literally rock stars in this film. It's just been a great relationship.
The producers of the superhero movie Iron Man picked Edwards Air Force Base in the California desert for one of their primary locations.
It's the best backlot that I've ever been on. You shoot in the backlots of Hollywood, and you look in one direction and you see a Western street. You look in the other direction, you see, you know, a New York street. Here you look every direction and it's authentic. You have the desert, you have the Muroc Dry Lake bed, you have all the hangars, and then of course you have all the personnel that instinctively know exactly what to do because they really do this for a living. So it's not just hired extras.
If you guys want accuracy, we'd all have
on clip-on.
As the crew prepares to film a scene inside a hangar, bogus military IDs are handed out to active duty personnel who are appearing as extras. The authenticity only goes so far.
This is my fake identification card. Apparently I'm female.
This is David Owen.
Not really.
Or at least she used to be.
Movie pros say these extras perform well once they get used to the camera.
You know, the first 2, you know, they all like to kind of look and, you know, make sure they're right in front of the lens, you know, and kind of get that quick glance cameo, but they're doing a real good job, you know, keeping a straight face and going along with, you know, the pattern.
To peace. Iron Man originated as a Marvel comic book back in the 1960s. The 2008 movie version updates the story to the present day. Iron Man is Tony Stark, played by Robert Downey Jr. Stark is a billionaire, a bit of a playboy, and a brilliant inventor of high-tech weaponry. Terrence Howard is Lieutenant Colonel James Rhodes, Stark's best friend, and an Air Force weapons acquisition officer. In the movie, Stark is kidnapped by terrorists and ordered to design a superweapon. Instead, he creates the first Iron Man suit and escapes.
When you're doing a fantasy story like a comic book movie, you want to add as much reality as you can to ground the film so that it doesn't just seem like an ungrounded, silly story. In this case, we wanted to set Iron Man in the real world, facing real enemies and real problems and dealing with real technology.
There's plenty of real technology at Edwards, including a Global Hawk and an F-22 Raptor brought in as set dressing for this day's scene.
I'm a Raptor guy, and I got to go down and find him a Raptor to bring and put in the hangar. That's probably one of the coolest things I can think of right now is we get to showcase the world's premier fighter aircraft in the movie Iron Man.
Ought to be fun, but Captain Christian Hodge, Air Force project officer on the movie, says he's never had a tougher job.
I deal with the very top tiers of Air Force leadership and often other services. I've never been more stressed out or gotten less sleep. There's a lot of scrutiny, making sure, hey, this is something that we can do, mission allowing. There's often an exchange of funds between the production and the Air Force or DOD, and that's got to be done right and detailed and taken care of and, cross the T's and dot the I's, so it's been kind of stressful.
Agreement on a script is the starting point for military support, but producers must also pick up the tab for the cost of operating the military equipment they use.
This is obviously a private enterprise, but this is at no cost to you, the taxpayer, at all. Everything here is paid for by the production company. The soldiers who are here, they're on their own time. They're paid as extras. The helicopter is a Coast Guard helicopter, and every hour of blade time is reimbursed by the production company.
We have a standard rate that we use, just like the Department of Defense military services. The Coast Guard has an hourly rate that we use for all of the assets, and we provided that information at the very beginning of our meetings with the production company.
Common sense also comes into play. Clearly, with an aircraft carrier with 5,000 individuals and millions of dollars of equipment, we have to tie that to a training mission.
And the entertainment office can't make a command participate.
We don't ask them to provide the support. It's who is available and the location that they're filming that we can incorporate into the movie.
You make our nation stronger.
It's a matter of pride for those who participate in the production of the movie.
Somewhere near the end of closing credits, after the hairdressers, the drivers, the stunt doubles, you'll find on-screen recognition for the Department of Defense and participating military units. The credit may be buried, but the relationship between the motion picture industry and the Pentagon is thriving. That relationship will continue to be nurtured as long as the real military is seen as enhancing the public image of life in uniform and helping attract recruits. I'm Tech Sergeant Ryan Hoke. Thank you for watching Recon.